right. So it looks like we're at the point of the show where I get to talk about the Kendrick Lamar concert in Coop's other hometown because he's Atlanta by way of Charlotte. So if you saw the short that I posted up, I was looking for Coop in Charlotte, man. They couldn't find him. He didn't pull up for the concert. I was a little bit disappointed, but nah, real talk. Like the show, it was a super dope experience for me because it was a present to my daughter who turned 14, and she was so excited to go. She is a big time SZA fan, and she's a Kendrick fan too, but she really wanted to go see SZA. And my daughter's real quiet, she's real reserved and stuff like that. And just to be next to her all night, like vibing, you know what I'm saying? Just like really, just enjoying. I'm seeing her having like one of the best times of her life. That was like a super dope experience for me, man. So like off top, that's, and ironically enough, my son's first concert was during the Mr. Morale tour. He went to see Mr. Morale. So yeah, Kendrick's first concerts for both my kids.
So you have been sponsoring this behavior and indoctrinating your children with this nefarious
indoctrinating is wild.
And behavior.
Indoctrinating is wild.
No, sir. No, Dr. Green. You were wild.
But you want to know what's funny? Speaking of my son, like, we'll get to the Kendrick and Drake thing in a minute. So we're in the stadium, right? And we're at our seats. And it was a guy walking in. So my son's top two rappers before the battle was Kendrick 1, Drake 2. But he's very much like you, Coop. He got so annoyed with the Kendrick fans, he switched. He was a turncoat and was rooting for Drake in the battle. And he's died on that hill ever since. Like, I'm staying over here with the light skin, Drake. And so we're sitting there in the stadium at our seats. And then a guy's walking up to his seat and got an OVO hoodie. And my son like looked at him and saluted. straight saluted the guy. I said, "What is you doing?" He was like, he said, "I'm gonna salute that man because he's brave enough to do what I wouldn't."
Wow.
That's crazy.
So yeah, he's a wild kid. But anyway, couple things about the show. Number one, packed house. I looked it up. It was 54,828 ticket sales, right? Out of a possible seating of 75,037. So that's 98% capacity. Because behind the stage, they didn't have those seats available. But just in general, what I want to say about that number is that many people hits different if you've ever been to a stadium concert, because most arenas is about like 17K or something like that. So that many people saying a lyric or, a hook or whatever in unison hits different because it's like, it's insane. It's a major amount of people. And I think it improved for me the sound quality. The sound quality was like, because it's nothing, that was an open, you've been to Panther Stadium, I'm sure, Coop. It's an open stadium. There's nothing for the sound to bounce off of. So what do you get? Everything you're getting is like, exactly. So everything with the sound quality was 10 times better than in an arena. And that lent to, some of the performances. What I'll say about Kendrick, his breath control is amazing. You know what I'm saying? He says he runs 6 miles a day. I believe it because his rapid fire ability to flow and, not lose the breath control is really amazing. SZA, this is one thing I really respect about singers. She's a rock star. I didn't have any idea until I seen her perform live, the level of performance that she puts on, and to be able to sing without the backing track. You know what I mean? She was being harnessed up in the air, like dancing around the stage and then singing and still hitting certain notes. I mean, she ain't no Whitney Houston or nothing, but the way she performed and, was able to keep those notes, I was really impressed by that. So I got a whole new respect for her. Only thing that threw me off, she performed Rich Baby Daddy. So it was kind of weird her saying "Shake That Ass" for Drake, and then a few songs later here, "Not Like Us." That was kind of weird vibe. but anyway, it rained a little bit. You know what I'm saying? During the show, afterwards it was crazy. But during the show, it rained a little bit. They kept rocking, and it was crazy to hear. That was their 5th stop. But the 4 previous stops before that, SZA said that this was their first open stadium that they had been to. So they kept going through the rain. So they hadn't been exposed to the elements like that, right? So
well, you know, hoteps don't like the rain, AG. Hoteps do not like the rain.
Yo,
right. But that was something to note.
Witches
But
are worried about melting away.
no comment.
oh
But
goodness.
this is one thing I'll say, and then people in the chat might say I'm glazing Nas and Wu-Tang because, you know, that's my GOAT MC and then my GOAT group. But my biggest takeaway from the show that was dope was something that I hadn't seen done until Nas and Wu-Tang did it when I went on their New York State of Mind tour. And what I mean by that, when you have co-headliners merging their sets and acts to blend it perfectly, whereas like, you know, with Nas and Wu-Tang, Nas come out, then they use I for an I for a transition, then Wu and Ray and Ghost come out, Wu-Tang do a set, and then Nas come back out for Verbal Intercourse, and then Nas do a set, and then vice versa. They keep going back and forth as co-headliners. I never seen that really utilized that way before, right? And Kendrick and SZA pretty much did that exact same format. They both did about 3 sets each, you know, of certain songs, and they blended each transition with, you know, the tracks that they had together. So that was super flawless the way they did that. It was a great show visual wise. And before get done in closing, this is what I want to lay out for y'all. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk a little bit about Kendrick's set list, if y'all don't mind. Just take a minute. Y'all good with that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Y'all cool? Okay. So what I want to lay out is Kendrick talk, you know, everybody who's been in the game for a long time talks about their day one fans versus, you know, new fans. And in this battle, Kendrick gained a lot of new fans, right? And so it's a lot of people that might not be as familiar with his catalog early on. And you could tell that, right? Because everything post Damn, you know what I'm saying, got the biggest ovations, crowd participation, and so on and so forth. Everything pre-Damn, not so much, even though, you know, Good Kid, Mad City is his best work, right? So I just found that interesting, and he was pointing out his old fans versus his day ones versus his new fans. But quick rundown: Good Kid, Mad City, he performed 6 joints off of. He did Backseat Freestyle, Swimming Pools, Mad City, which was a dope blend over Anita Baker's Sweet Love. You know what I'm saying? So that was a fire blend. He did Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, Money Trees, and Poetic Justice. So 6 joints off Good Kid. Then To Pimp a Butterfly, he did King Kunta and All Right. Only 2 joints, which makes sense because that's not, even though it's considered a classic, a lot of them ain't stadium flow, as Cooper say. You know what I mean? I left out Section 80. He didn't do anything off Section 80. All right. So Damn, which is commercially most successful album, he did 4 joints. He did Element, Humble, Love, and DNA. All bangers, right? We get to Mr. Morale, Coop's favorite album, and he only did 2 joints off Mr. Morale. He did Count Me Out and N95. So short and sweet with the Mr. Morale songs. GNX, this is the Grand National Tour. So I would expect to see the most songs coming off of GNX. So it's 10 or 12, depending on how you cut it, because I got an asterisk by two of these songs. But Whacked Out Mural was his leadoff song, which is a dope joint to come out to. He did Squabble Up, of course. He did TV Off. He broke TV off into 2 parts. He did the first verse in one part of the show early. He did the second verse where he's yelling mustard and 50-some thousand people yelling mustard towards the back end of the show. He did Hey Now. He did Reincarnated. He did Man at the Garden. He did Dodger Blue. He did Peekaboo. He did Luther and Gloria. Those 2 songs were the closers, Luther and Gloria. And he did the 2 that I got an asterisk beside. He did the Heart Part 6, which was played. He didn't perform it, but it was played during one of the interlude segments. And then he did Bodies, he did that at the Super Bowl. That's a skit that a snippet of a song that was used during early promos, so it might come out on a deluxe version, but it hasn't been released officially yet. But he did it at Super Bowl. As far as features, he did 30 for 30 with SZA. He did Doves in the Wind with SZA. He did All of the Stars with SZA. He did Family Ties with Baby Keem, which arguably rang off the most that night. Like, the crowd went crazy over this joint. He did Like That with Future, Future and Metro wasn't there, but he did his Like That verse, and he did Good Credit recently, his feature on Playboy Cardi. And the diss songs that he performed, of course, Not Like Us was going to get played. Everybody went crazy to that, and he did Euphoria. So 2 diss songs. So in that rundown, that's a dope, and I want to get y'all's thoughts on this, but the conclusion I came to, if I'm being honest and objective, on the good side of things, that's a pretty dope set list. Really dope. You know what I'm saying? Especially with a co-headliner like SZA. SZA came with the heat as well. But what I will say is it really made me take a step back and look at his discography and say, although all these are great songs to perform like for a stadium tour, but if I had any critique or, objective critique, the lion's share of this set list, probably 90%, is coming from 3 albums. You got 6 joints off Good Kid, 12 off of GNX, and then 4 off Damn. 3 albums. So although his discography is great, it's just not that extensive. For somebody who's been in the game for 16 years now, it's great, but it's in a small dosage, because I've seen Nas probably about, I think, 4 times in concert. I've seen Jay twice in concert. And to see the way they effortlessly weave in and out of tracks from 15 to 20 albums worth of material is something that needs to be studied. You know what I'm saying? So although this track list is great, it's still limited in, the breadth of it, if that makes sense. But overall, dope show. I'll give it, one of the better shows that I've been to as far as rating, and the stadium aspect of it all. I give it a 5 out of 5 stars. And the biggest, it's special to me because it was the first concert shared that moment with my daughter. So I'd like to get y'all's thoughts hearing about the concert experience.
You can go. I don't have any. I mean, it's what expected. It's what's expected from it.
Yeah.
So, obviously wasn't at the concert in Charlotte, and actually would have preferred to go to the concert in Charlotte than in Atlanta, because I do think that as far as that stadium flow sound, I actually think it's better in Charlotte than in Atlanta because of how the stadium is structured that you spoke to. First of all, as far as the 2 songs on Mr. Morale, I'm sorry that you had to suffer through that. If I was there,
I like those 2 songs. I ain't complaining about that.
Hug you and your daughter and tell you that everything's gonna be okay and that you're gonna survive. You're a survivor of that album, and that is a survivor. It's okay for you to be traumatized and to need some time to heal from that terrible, terrible, terrible album. But in all seriousness, what you're really finding out from his catalog, by what you said, AG, because we have to be realistic. The only reason it's 12 GNX records and all these disc records, because that's what's banging right now. 5 years from now, you can go ahead and cut that 12 tracks down to probably about 2 or 3, closer to, I'd say more than Mr. Morale and To Pimp a Butterfly, but way less than Damn and Good Kid, Mad City in terms of what he actually has. The Mustard record, Not Like Us, and maybe Whacked Out Murals are probably what's going to hold up the best in terms of his stadium flow. But I think what the real problem is that, well, them songs that you name, and I'm not being funny when I say this, when you're talking about Nas and Jay and seamlessly going through stuff, it's like, no, let's not seamlessly go through stuff. Let's go to their best 2 or 3 projects. Oh no, they're about 6 or 7 heaters on all them. And that's what I be saying about him, and about being mindful about comparing him to them. Like, we about to do some of this list. Do you know how, like, for what we're about to do at the end of the show, oh shoot, I could have just made a Nas and a J list of songs. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it would have been, that could have won.
Right.
So that's different. And so when people saying that he's operating on that level, it's like, well, I don't hear that in the records. And when you're ringing off the songs from the set list, I'm like, no, it's what I thought it was. Good Kid, Mad City is truly his greatest album. Damn is his stadium flow. To Pimp a Butterfly is his little Hotep masterpiece for all his little incense lighting, lock dipping ass I don't know what the fuck. And Mr. Morale's just not that good. GNX and what's in tap dancing on Drake light skinned ass is what's in right now. You know? So
Yeah.
but I don't really see it like that. I see a great catalog, and I'm going to be honest with you. This catalog isn't aging as well as I thought that it was going to. Outside of Good Kid, Mad City, that's what I'm afraid of. When you ran off those records, I was like, nah, you can skip that. Nah, give me that one. You can skip that. Give me that one. I'm okay. That's cool. When you told me Mad City over the Anita Baker shit, I was like, ooh, I would have loved to hear that. But nothing else excited me about what you said, AG. And I think that's the thing that was kind of alarming to me.
I think because a lot of his albums give us different looks. It's not lacking versatility, that's for sure. Because he hasn't made the same album twice, and that's definitely a credit that I'll give to him. He hasn't done that, but that was just an observation that I made or whatever. And I do, and we're not just saying this for him because you brought up a very valid point. If you're touring an album that you just released, if you rock 10 joints off that album during your current, concert run, fast forward some years down the road, you want to cut that in half at least. You know what I'm saying?
Like, how about this? Remember when Nas actually did like the Godson DVD? It's like, well,
Yes.
now the reality of the matter is that we'll Get Down. It Made You Look, and I Can or Prop. You know what I'm saying? Are the
Right.
ones that are gonna play now still, as opposed to at the time. Oh no, he did damn near half. He did like 2/3 of the album. It seemed like,
And putting it in proper perspective, like I said, Kendrick's been in the game for 16 years, but where he's at album wise now, just as far as quantity, is where Nas was at. If my math is right in my head, was where Nas was at in 2002 with Godson. And then we got what we got after that. You know what I'm saying?
So
more classic material to come.
So hold on, but listen to what you're saying. So you're saying what it's taking him to do in 16 years what Nas did in 8? Is that essentially what you're saying?
Yeah, because Godson is what Nas is 6, 7 albums in by that point.
And people are saying that I'm hating.
Right?
And people are saying that I'm hating.
That's the facts.
People saying that I'm hating. Listen to what you just said.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't use, I don't know. I guess
what Jay said. You've been in the 10, I've been in the 5.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But now we can move on. But overall, the show was dope.
Nigga, I can divide. That's one. Maybe let's say 2.
Jay nasty for that bar because he was cheating. He was counting Nas from Live at the Barbecue, but he was counting himself from Reasonable Doubt. That was a nasty twist.
No. Hyperbole is part of this rap game.
It is.
Yeah.
And we're about to get to angles in a battle.
Right.
Yeah. Look, man, Kendrick, keep doing your thing. Keep selling out. If he continues to sell out these arenas, do it for hip hop. It opens the door for others to be able to come through and do the same.
He'll break records for sure.
Yeah.